Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have my second October daily video to share with you. This video is from days 6 through 11. I'm trying to fit as many days in a video as I can just so that way there are less to watch. But again, if I end up with a super long video, I'll probably just leave it by itself just so that way you're not stuck with 25-minute videos for the most part. But this one really it's a little over 25 minutes, so hopefully it's a little more entertaining seeing multiple pages in here. On day 6 of October, we went to a football game at my old high school. My youngest sister, Olivia, was cheering with the junior cheerleaders. So we all kind of went out to support her, and I had a ton of pictures from this day, and it was already hard to narrow them down. So I just tried really hard to pick my favorite 6 and then just print them in the 2x2 size. They're a little bit too big to fit the way that I'm doing them here, so next time around when I do something similar, I'll make sure to trim them down a little bit ahead of time so they fit a little bit better, but overall I think it works out. My strategy for placing them is just to put one picture with multiple people, like a lot of people in it, next to a picture of 1 or 2 people, so that way it's not like all the crowded pictures together and stuff like that. So I'm just using my Kelly Perky label stamps that I've already stamped in orange here and cutting it apart as I stamp the date. It just kind of depends on the day how I end up doing the actual stamp itself. But this time I'm just going to tuck it under this bottom picture here and then cut off the edge. I'm trying really hard to put the date with my date stamp and then a number that says what day of October it was, just because I think that's something that's always fun to see in daily albums and something that I don't really do since I don't do like weekly project life or any daily albums so far. I just really wanted to make sure to do that here in this album. So I'm using my Sakura Micron 0.01 pen here. I bought it because I knew I would want to be able to journal really small, and it's working really well. I like the Sakura pens for lettering and documenting, and so I knew it would be a good brand to get in a smaller pen tip size. So I just did some journaling about the evening and put some washi tape at the top and the bottom from the washi sticker pack. And now I'm just kind of looking through the stickers. And again, I'm still having a little bit of trouble getting into using some of them because they're just very, very, very Halloween themed, and there are not a lot of words that are generically Halloween enough to use for just like any event. So I'm also using some black and white things and occasional orange things from my stash. So I have a lot of word and word poetry stickers from old messy boxes. So I'm just kind of looking through those and adding them to pictures as I can, just to kind of add a little bit of fun and a little bit of sticker magic, I guess, to these to this spread. And I'm also wanting to add this one that says Friday here at the bottom, since it was Friday that we went. I really like word poetry stickers. I feel like if I see them, or phrase stickers or anything like that, I like to pick them up because I think they're pretty easy to use in any spread, and especially when they're black and white, it just works really well. So I'm just doing my best to use things from my stash as well as things that I purchased in my Spellcast haul. But as I go, I'm trying really hard to be a little less literal with the things that I purchased. It's just difficult, I don't want to put a witch on the football game spread or whatever. I added that 6 witches from the Mombi or Mambi sticker set. I'm just doing kind of a messy border here, and it totally messed it up there on the side, but that's okay. I'm just trying to make sure that my spreads don't look the same as much as possible throughout the book. I saw something on Dear Lizzie on her Instagram where she had kind of made her caption, you know, more fun, more love, more whatever, and just a little list as her caption. And I thought that that was really cute. So I decided to kind of take her idea and make it applicable to the days that we were spending in October, so things that we were doing at that time. So, you know, more cheering, more 70-degree days, more snuggles, more Hallmark movies, stuff like that, things that were actually going on in my life at that point. And it was a way to do journaling for a day where I think it was just kind of a normal day. There weren't any like pictures that I really wanted to print out or specific stories that I wanted to tell, so I thought this would be a good way to still kind of say what I'd been up to that weekend and that month so far without being super specific. So I'm trying to allow myself to do that on days where, you know, there's not something specific I want to say. And so I really liked how this turned out. It's a little bit messy because I'm not very patient to write everything super slowly, but I do still like how it turned out. I've been trying to start, you know, at the bottom, or, you know, just to align things as well as I can from the beginning, because sometimes depending on how I do it, it's a little bit foreign to me and then I mess it up really easily. So I was trying to just be intentional about left aligning here and starting at the bottom. So again, not perfect, but I like the thing that it's getting across, and I thought it was a fun, different way to mix it up in my spreads. And I also like that it's next to the page with tons of photos on it, because it's a nice contrast. One page with lots of photos and one page with more, you know, journaling and writing and that kind of thing. I added this orange floral sticker and some washi tape, and now I'm just looking through the ephemera just to try to use more things here. These are some things that are black and white and gold from my stash that aren't, you know, necessarily from the Spellcast haul at all, but I like this hello sticker, and I have been thinking about using it a million different places since I got it, and I've had it, like, it's one of the very first stickers I bought when I started this a year ago, when I started doing any scrapbooking a year ago. So I'm glad that I finally found a home for it. And I'm putting day 7 up at the top there, and I like how that turned out. Pretty simple, but I feel like I did use a little bit more of my stickers. And now I'm moving on to day 8. So this postcard that says "Stay Curious" is something that I picked up in New York while we were there at the Strand bookstore. Anytime that we travel, I feel like I come home with books and greeting cards and, you know, pens and washi tape and stuff like that, but postcards are something that I really struggle not to buy, and so we buy a ton to send to our friends and family when we travel, but I always end up bringing a lot home for myself too. So this was one that I really liked, and I thought because it was black and white and a little bit spooky looking, it would work well in this album, so I wanted to include it. And I think on these days it was just a lot of, you know, days at home being productive and, you know, just kind of also relaxing and having fun. And so I had these cat pictures of Duchess and Scally, and I really wanted to include them, and I thought that would be perfect for this postcard that had cats on it. So I'm just trimming it down a little bit because it's slightly too wide for the photos on the back, but these are just 2 3x4 photos. And I'm just trimming because apparently I can't stick things down straight. But I want this to be just a flip up page. So I just put a little bit of washi tape in between the 2 photos on the back, and then I'm using a strip here to tack it down to the page. I want to include the date, of course. And I also want to have a way that I can show this is a flip-up pocket, so that's something that I'll do on the back side of this date tag. So I'm just getting out my label stamp in the orange ink again, so I can stamp the back side of the piece I just cut out so that that also has the label edge on it. Oh, I see. Just kidding. What I was trying to do was put it on one side so that it would pop out to the other page, because on my last page I did not put the date. But it's not going to work the way I want it to, so I just decided to go ahead and stick it down at the top of this washi tape, and then I just decided to stamp the date directly on the last page that I did, just so that way it's there. I'm not gonna, linger over that too long. There's no reason to stress about it. So I am adding the 8 with some Studio Calico Alpha that came in a mystery kit that they did. And I'm using the period from Kelly Perky's Black Alpha just to make it look a little different there at the top. And then I have this little sticker that I'm gonna place there just to give it something more interesting to look at the top. And then I haven't completely decided what I want to do underneath the flip pocket, so I'm just kind of looking through the ephemera and seeing what I have. I have this little black cat cut apart, and so I decided to use that. And then I also have this tab label that says Spellcast on it, and so on the back side of it I just outlined the edge, and I'm lining it up with the spine of the book. Excuse me. So that way it doesn't get bent up when I shut it. It's very carefully lining it up. And so it's a really thin little tab, so I decided to use my Sakura Micron 0.01 tip pen just to write out pull and kind of outline it a few times, so that way people will know that it's there if they're looking through. And like I said, this cat was from a cut apart 12 by 12 paper, and I haven't used, I cut out my favorite ones that I knew I wanted to use, but I haven't been able to find places for them yet, so I like that this one, I feel like it works well here with the cat theme of the page. And I also like that it's adding some orange, but I'm just trying to decide how to lay out this bottom part of the page. And I feel like anytime you start a new size for a scrapbook or anything like that, it just takes some work to get into the size or to try different things as you go along, because normally I do 6 by 8, which is pretty different from this size. So it's been fun, but it definitely takes some work. I'm using this old washi tape that's just a Scotch washi tape, and it was just in the Target Halloween section last year, and it's just black with gold spiderwebs. And then I'm using my 0.01 pen again to do some journaling about the cats being cuddly, and it's starting to get a little bit cooler outside, so they're, starting to snuggle more, and I always like that time of year. So just a little bit of journaling there. But it just looks kind of blank on the edges, so just trying to find more things to embellish with, just using more stars. You can see why I run out of these quickly, because I use them on every page, I feel like. And then using some more washi tape here, and putting on some word and phrase stickers from the Spellcast line. think it's funny because I use Too Cute to Spook and also Little Monsters, which is so funny because that's kind of opposite things, but cats are both of them. Definitely both monsters and too cute, so it's just kind of funny. The things that we do for our fur babies. So on this next day, day 9, I think it was just kind of a nice day and I was able to wear some fall clothes because it wasn't super hot. So I just have a picture of myself from our walk that day, and I'm just kind of, I trimmed it down to fit on a scrap of white paper that I had left from making the traveler's notebook. So again, I'm just trying to use those scraps when I can because, you know, there's no reason to waste them. Just trimming down the edges a little bit, and then I'm just kind of trying to do a little sketched border here. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just playing around. So I just kind of do this like squiggly thing with the lines. So I don't really have a story to tell that day so much as it was just really nice weather. So I'm just playing around with the placement for the photo. And I just stick it in the top right hand corner. And then I just need to add some embellishments here, but since the page is already kind of busy with all the moths, that's why I wanted to put the white border on the picture, so that way there was kind of a barrier in between, you know, a busy pattern on a photo and a busy pattern on the background paper. So I just use this Perfect Day sticker. And I'm looking for numbers on the big white alpha, but there are not any. And I don't really want to put the number on my photo at that time, so I didn't want to do the black again. So I'm using this 9 from the Maggie Holmes Gather collection sticker set, and then I'm just using one of those pre-stamped label stamps with the date again. Keeping it pretty simple here. And I decided to stick the date stamp at the bottom of the page because most of them are attached to the photo or, you know, something like that. And then I move on to this middle page, which is very, very orange by comparison because most of my papers that I bought are black and white. And so I'm trying to find a way to make it a little bit less crazy. On day 10, it was a Tuesday, which is my day off, and so I stayed home and did kind of some cooking and some different things that I needed to get done around the house. So I had a picture of one of the things we made, and I think it worked really well with the orange color. So I'm just inking my date stamp and using this scrap paper to be the edge against the photo so I didn't get ink on my photo. And I'm kind of just making my own sort of tab journal thing for the pocket because I just stuck down the 3 sides of this photo. So that actually worked really well. And I just decided to put the date stamp in there, but I just have to be a little bit careful because it's a very thin tab. So right up at the top, and it ends up working out just fine. And then I'm going to use my pen to kind of outline the box here after I do my journaling. So I'm just talking about doing some different cooking and baking for fall. I feel like that's the time of year that everyone just wants to eat all the cozy food and bake and cook again once it's not quite so hot. So at this point in the month, we're finally starting to have some somewhat cooler days outside. So yeah, just doing some journaling. And then now I'm just using a thicker pen from my bag of mini pens and just kind of outlining the tab a little bit to give it a border. And then using more stars to just embellish it a little bit. think I'm probably looking for a word sticker to go here at the bottom. So I find one that I like, and it says boil and bubble, which I felt was good for, good for cooking, but still Halloween-y. I'm using those acetate letters again, so I'm just scraping off the protective plastic, and then again using my Zig Writer glue pen, which I talked about in my last video, but it works really, really well. It's super handy. Once it dries, it sticks perfectly. It's blue while you're putting the glue on, and it dries clear, so I just have a million wonderful things to say about this pen. And I like the way that it puts the date on there really big, and see, I've now put my tiny attacher on top of it to hold it down for even longer. But I like the way that that page turned out because there's a lot of open space, but it's not quite as orange as it once was. And on the second page here, I'm just doing some journaling on another scrap of white cardstock that was left over from making my traveler's notebook. And I'm just making a checklist of different fall food that we want to have at some point here. And just trying to think of as many things as I can so that way the page becomes less orange. I don't want it to be incredibly different from every single page that I've made so far. Yeah, I just don't want it to be too orange. So I'm just trying to, actually I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm looking at my different stickers again. Probably trying to decide if this actually looks good. Putting some black washi tape here on the edge. And then just sticking it down. I didn't have a huge plan for this page when I started it, so it's a little bit rough, but that's okay. And then I'm just using that large Beautiful Mess white alpha to say fall food. And then just looking through my stickers again, looking for something else that will work. And at this point, I'm trying to stop using stars on every single page. So I think like it's bothering me a little bit that on the right side of the white piece, there's just a little bit of like white spaces that I feel like needs something, but I don't want to put stars there. I use orange washi tape from the MT Rainbow Pack, and that kind of like makes the black a little bit less crazy contrast. And then I put on a plus sign from an old messy box. And then I've got my date stamp ready to go here at the bottom. So I just stick it there at the bottom of the card that I made. And then I'm looking for something to fill in that gap in between because I don't want it to be so funny looking with the little gap there. So I just use another strip of the washi sticker, and then I'm using the old Mombi numbers again to put 11 in the bottom corner. So I'm going ahead and checking off the things that we've already had because by this point it's actually probably at least the 15th of the month. But yeah, so now you can see the final look at these pages. I really like how they turned out and that they were different from one another, that I was able to capture memories on days where there were a lot of memories, but then on days when there weren't, it was still possible just to maybe do one photo or a list or something fall themed that didn't need to have a specific story attached to it because it was still the stuff I was thinking about. Like even if I didn't necessarily cook that day, maybe I was thinking about all the fall things that we wanted to make before it became winter, stuff like that. So I feel like it works out really well, and it's teaching me to be flexible as I document things. I like how the flip up card worked and that it gave me more space underneath the card to put some journaling and use more pieces from the things that I bought. I just love these acetate numbers. I'm really glad that I bought them. And I like how these orange pages turned out in the end, even though, you know, it's still a lot of orange. I feel like I was able to tone it down a little bit and still make it look like something that we liked. So I think it all looks really good, and again, I'm just having so much fun with this. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.